I have directed Secretary Connelly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
For every family in this country, the stability of the banking system matters.
The ECB is ready to do whatever it takes to preserve the euro.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally.
And there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
The government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
I print banknotes. I just in my office, I print banknotes. And with these banknotes, I will buy you something.
It's a great business to be in, central banking. You print money and people believe it.
It's a combination of dementia and immorality. And I think the people that are pushing it are a disgrace.
Yes, blockchain will survive. But will Bitcoin survive?
Traders focused on a growing crackdown that's happening in China.
It's energy intensive. It uses a lot of energy. And it's also a place where white supremacists apparently are taking options.
So much of the market cap can be moved by literally one-word tweets by one person.
I'm not salty. I feel like you guys must be quite salty. Have you seen the Bitcoin price?
Bitcoin has lost 60% of its value since November of last year, 20% in the last month.
But the other problem with Bitcoin is that it's very inefficient to try to use it as a medium of exchange.
There will be no currency that gets around government control.
We could be talking about, instead of Bitcoin, we could be talking about digital currency.
The token of choice for ransomware.
I do worry about potential losses that investors in it could suffer.
Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero.
We're down to 12 cents, 11 cents. We're down to 10 cents. We're down to 9 cents, 6 cents. We are going 5 cents. We are down to, wow. I don't know what this means, people. We are down to 1 cent.
We just conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity.
It's an odd judgment because she's been found guilty and convicted of negligence, and it's an odd decision because she comes out, on the one hand guilty, on the other hand not punished.
German Linder Deutsche Bank is no stranger to scandal, for everything from dodgy mortgage-backed securities to money laundering.
Meanwhile, Signature Bank marks the third largest bank failure in U.S. history.
The sudden collapse of Silicon Valley Bank.
Those had pushed Switzerland's number 2 bank to the brink of collapse.
After several Fed presidents revealed large investments in stock trades.
And on Paul Pelosi buying up to $5 million in stock in chipmaker Nvidia ahead of that vote on the $52 billion in taxpayer subsidies.
JP Morgan precious metals traders have each been charged with alleged spoofing, market manipulation and fraud between 2008 and 2016.
The reason why Bitcoin is so powerful is that it aligns the incentives.
To me, it's garbage.
They can be as greedy as they want.
I'm not going to take real money and put it into this thing. It's never going to happen.
They are being forced to promote a freedom tool.
So I've got gold and I've got Bitcoin. In fact, now crypto's bigger than my gold holdings.
Bitcoin is the first system of money that is not controlled by any entity, that is completely decentralized.
This is financial inclusion, that this is a network and a monetary system that doesn't hold any bias, and there's no intermediary that could tell him that he's not allowed.
This is the people's money.
Understanding that it's not just currency, understanding that it is a platform for trust.
And your trusted third party is 100,000 computers.
Private property rights, rule of law, honest money. That's what our founding fathers wanted. That's what Bitcoin is.
Bitcoin will have been a story about when a bunch of imperfect humans met a perfect machine. And what happened?
The idea that we should be ruled by rules, not by rulers.
Bitcoin doesn't have classes. Everyone is the same before that set of rules.
Bitcoin is an alternative to modern central banking.
It is the concept of decentralization applied to the human communication of value.
The Federal Reserve is one of the most transparent central banks in the world.
That's a statement. What do you fear?
All of these political systems, all these economic systems throughout the history of the human race, they've been collapsing because of unsterile money.
We in this room are using a technology that has taken the metal and the paper away from them. And it is through this single lever that they have set flourishing societies on the path to inevitable poverties.
With inflation now surpassing 700% and rising.
The gap between the official rate of the pound and the black market has reached 100%.
As the lira's value plummets, shopkeepers and bakers are forced to constantly raise their prices.
Farmers there are getting into terrible debt, and it's driving many to suicide.
100 euros per day is all that can be withdrawn from most bank ATMs.
Inflation may finally be making a return in Japan.
In Spain, the headline figure even higher at 8.7%.
But we see it as a hump, and a hump eventually declines.
A sharp uptick in the number of German firms beginning insolvency proceedings.
I'm doing everything within my power by executive orders to bring down the price and address the Putin price hike.
Hail to the chief. To Joe Biden.
California inflation relief checks will start going out as soon as this Friday.
The UK economy faced a major financial crisis, only averted by an extraordinary intervention by the Bank of England.
Inflation has not peaked yet.
There's no guarantee that we can do that. I think we now understand better how little we understand.
Don't we see a gigantic bubble here on your balance sheet with the euro? And isn't this graph very nerve-wracking?
It will come. It will come. In due course, yeah.
If they keep going, it's like we enter full Weimar territory.
Oh yeah, that's where this is going.
So you think we're going?
Oh God, yeah. That's not even hard.
And how does it?
All we know at this point is that they're going to have to print money, and they're going to have to print a lot of it.
They can either debase or default.
What you end up doing is hyperinflating.
And they are going to have to print until their eyes bleed.
This will make the great financial crisis look like a tea party.
When we get to a point where people realize, oh God, this is not stopping, they're going to have to issue so much debt.
Once we have that big blow up of the good old trusted fiat currencies like the British pound and the euro and the dollar, like
Bitcoin is like a release valve that people can turn to if they find themselves stuck in these environments that might be more inflationary in the future than we've grown accustomed to in our lifetimes.
In my lifetime, the Venezuelan government has wiped out 14 zeros from the currency.
Sri Lanka's Prime Minister says his country is now bankrupt.
The crisis is largely the result of 3 decades of financial mismanagement by successive governments.
Turkey's yearly inflation leapt to a new 20-year high of just over 61% in March.
109% last month.
28.92% in December.
25.8% in August.
19.4% year-on-year in March.
Inflation is at a 50-year high and food has become unaffordable for millions.
Increasing volatility from the country's inflation shooting up over 100%.
The Lebanese pound has lost 85% of its value, pushing more than half of the population into poverty.
So only 13% of humans in the world live in a country that's a liberal democracy with property rights and has what we call a reserve currency.
With Bitcoin, there are no bail-ins. No bank holidays, no seizures, no currency controls. No one can stop you, censor you, take away your money, stop you from spending it. None of that.
It's a way to opt out. You can opt out peacefully from the system.
So this guy, the last thing he said to me basically was I'm saving up for my kids and this is my ticket out of here.
Why are these people protesting? Apparently they are unable to withdraw money, their own money.
Armed people enter banks demanding their own money.
He's demanding his own money and threatening to burn down the bank.
And truckers who have not been arrested are dealing with the fallout of frozen bank accounts and seized assets.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, there's a name for them. We call them poor.
Bitcoin's back. Why?
We're not back. This is just getting started.
It's just getting started. You're talking about investing government resources in this completely decentralized resource, which scares people a bit.
Does it scare you? I guess it scares you. I don't live here. Okay, well, I guess it scares you.
It doesn't scare you.
I think it's something worth studying. I think it's something worth studying and worth looking at.
It's also possible to have more than one large reserve currency.
People should have the opportunity to make those decisions for themselves.
If you're in a country where you're fearful of your future, fearful of your government, or you're frightened that your government is devaluing its currency by too much deficits.
Like us.
I'm not going to go there.
The little elephant in the room here.
Yeah. You could say this is a great potential long-term store of value.
So I'm looking forward to that first paycheck in Bitcoins.
I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador.
This is our Louisiana Purchase moment. Thank you, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin stands for freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government.
It's one of the reasons why I am so bullish on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is money for the people, money for all people.
Bitcoin solves the fiat Ponzi.
Think about what money is. It is how we value what we do with our lives.
It changes how we show up. It changes our time preference to thinking long term.
We're like talking about the future of our children.
Bitcoin is reflecting at us how much each of us as individuals value freedom.
I think it's the greatest tool for human freedom that's ever existed.
We don't have technology to stop this.
You can put regulations, you can ban people buying it. Yeah, you might slow the adoption, but try and stop the Bitcoin network. You can't.
All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something they can't stop.
And that's exactly what Satoshi has given us, that sly roundabout way.
It's these little technologies that occasionally come up that tip the balance of power in a favor back towards the individual. So the printing press is something like that.
This is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Like if I were not at Square or Twitter, I'd be working on Bitcoin.
I think Bitcoin's going to be the key ingredient to humanity going like the next level.
And our future may depend upon one man who makes the world safe for capitalism, and that's Satoshi.
And I just think that the elites in the West are just so clueless about that. Like that even in one of the most restrictive, repressive, dystopian places on earth, Gaza, people are using Bitcoin to escape.
In my part of the world, the biggest problem is corruption. Bitcoin is your solution.
Wherever Bitcoin has been embraced, anywhere in the world, freedom and equality follow. Bitcoin is the embodiment of freedom.
Those guys, they're going to go down with the ship, and that is basically the backbone that, defines what Bitcoin is.
Bitcoin has not been attacked yet, really. It will get attacked more.
They can come after me. They can come after any individual. I'll die on this hill, but they can't stop this idea.
What's Alan Greenspan going to do? He's going to print more money. Why are we going to stop it? There's only one way to stop it.
This is got to stop.
And we will be your guide through the separation of money and state.
Countries are going to compete to stack Bitcoin.
You don't even look at the price in fiat.
Get off zero, like today.
We're just waiting for the rest of the world to realize how good it is.
Prepare. I know. Prepare for the halving. The halving is coming.
If people in your life are not showing you active disdain, you're not stacking hard enough.
The hardcores.
If you're still invited to family Thanksgiving, you're not stacking hard enough.
Right? We refer to them as the psychopaths.
If your car is younger than Bitcoin, you're not stacking hard enough.
They're not putting it back on the market.
If nobody has called you a retard, you're not stacking hard enough.
What the heck do you think's going to happen when it's at 200,000 or 300,000? They're not selling at all. They're doubling down at that point.
You're just not stacking hard enough.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay.
It's the most asymmetric trade in the history of the world.
What's the second best? There is no second best.
It is the ultimate solution. It is the light at the end of the tunnel.
The question is, how many people are actually going to be prepared before they need it and don't get absolutely wrecked?
This is hope.
This is freedom.
Fix the money, fix the world.
It's bullish for freedom.
Thank God for Bitcoin.
Stay humble, stack sats.
We're going to win.
We're going to win.
We are going to win. There is no doubt we are going to win.
I think Bitcoin will be successful. I think it will be the money of the world.
I genuinely am in this space because I think it will change the world for the better.
I mean, really, we joke about Bitcoin fixes this, but it really fixes a lot of things.
Bitcoin, its underlying technology, breaks Orwell's dictum.
And it will be as significant for freedom, prosperity, and human flourishing as the birth of the internet.
We have to work together, and we have to make sure they do not reduce this country to the land of the free and the home of the slave.
Try to live as there's a Bitcoin standard today.
There's people that are waking up this morning thinking about a different currency than the one they grew up on. That is hyper-Bitcoinization. It's happening right now, today.
A country plugs in into open monetary system and gives their citizens hope.
But I now think in Bitcoin, and it's very freeing.
1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Got it.
I'm just going all in on this. God. And if it doesn't work out, it's fucking better than participating in the war economy.
It's so fucking true.
Go crack your piggy bank, take your money out, put it in the Bitcoin network, leave it there.
And I hope you all can get out the shower and look yourself in the mirror and say you're improving humanity, and don't you dare let anyone tell you otherwise.
If you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Lord.
If people are not making fun of you for brown bagging your lunch, you're not stacking hard enough.
Bitcoin or slavery. Rights aren't given, they are taken. Bitcoin or slavery. All we can do is buy some sly roundabout way, introduce something that they can't stop. Bitcoin or slavery. Emergencies have always been the pretext on which the safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded. Bitcoin or slavery. Freedom is the right to live as we wish.